consideration is a proposal that Senator Wyden and the Senate Finance Committee have been looking at that would impose a tax on unrealized capital gains on liquid assets held by extremely wealthy individuals, billionaires. I wouldn't call that a wealth tax, but it would help get at capital gains, which are an extraordinarily large part of the incomes of the wealthiest individuals. And right now, escape taxation until they're realized, and often they're unrealized, and at death benefit from so-called step-up of basis. So it's not a wealth tax, but a tax on unrealized capital gains of exceptionally wealthy individuals.
Notice what this communist just says, because she's a communist. She's a full-blown communist. She's not even a liberal. You've already paid taxes on the income that you bought stocks with, right? The stock then goes up. She then wants you to pay the capital gains tax as well. And then she then wants you to pay it even if you die. She wants to get rid of the step-up basis so your heirs pay on the original price, even though you never capitalized from it at all. And then she says, even though the gains are unrealized, is everybody following this part? In other words, you haven't even sold the stock yet.
Right.
She says, well, they're liquid. How can they be liquid if you haven't sold the stock?
Right.
I don't understand. How is it liquid? So a couple things are going to happen here because of this commie, who's our Treasury Secretary. Full-blown communists now. We have communists everywhere, including their nominee for the comptroller. We have communists everywhere in this administration. Here's what's going to happen. One, it'll be unconstitutional. I'm almost positive it'll be thrown out in court. You can't impose a direct tax outside of an income tax on individuals. You can't target people for specific taxes outside of the income tax. Does everybody understand that? You can't just say, hey, listen, we're going to impose a tax on everybody's wealth as long as you're a billionaire. If not, you can't do it because you'll be next. You can't do it. It's not constitutional. Second, stock market, if let's say some hack judges pass this thing, the stock market will crash like you've never seen before. Because think about it, folks. Billionaires are rich. It's why they're billionaires. They have a lot of assets and taxes. So let's say a guy's worth $1 billion, but he's worth $1 billion, but he only has, say, a couple million in the bank. He's not struggling, but his assets are tied up in his house, some real estate investments he made, and some stock investments he made. So he's worth $1 billion, but he has, I don't know, say 10 million in the bank. Now they say, the communist Janet Yellen, hey, we're going to classify that as income. It's not. You haven't cashed any of it in. You have to pay capital gains taxes if you do, right? We're going to classify that as income right now. You owe us $370 million on that $1 billion. I don't have $370 million. So how are they going to get the money? They're going to sell their stocks. Which is going to be a whole lot of stocks getting liquidated immediately. Mark my words. Mark it, Joe. Monday, October 25th, if this passes and is held up by a bunch of liberal hacks on the court who know it's plainly unconstitutional, you will see a stock market crash that'll make 1929 look like House Party with Kid and Play.
Flag it.
It's got the date marked. Remember these words. If it passes, your pension will be finished. You will see an era. We'll be back to the Great Depression. One more point on this. Again, notice the word game she does to try to classify wealth as income. Wealth is not income. Wealth is wealth. It's not the same thing. Many of you are very wealthy because you have equity in your house. Imagine if they told you had to pay taxes on that tomorrow. Hey, you made $500,000 in a house you bought for $200K 30 years ago? Yeah, you owe us taxes on that. Well, what do you mean? I haven't sold my house. Doesn't matter. That's coming for you next. One more thing. It's plainly unconstitutional. 1955 case, Commissioner versus Glenshaw Glass. In order to be declared as income and to fit with the income tax amendment to the Constitution, which permitted direct taxes in the case of income, in order to be classified as income, you have to have, quote, complete dominion over the money. Well, if you haven't sold the stock, how do you have complete dominion over it? Ladies and gentlemen, it's plainly unconstitutional. Janet Yellen knows that, but she's a communist, so she just wants to get her hold on. So mark my words, it'll get thrown out of court. But if it doesn't, you will see the Great Depression Part 2.